Let me slide on out. All right. Welcome to your morning mental workout. We are going to start as usual with our 3 deep cleansing breaths because we want to regulate the emotions as well as send the notification to the rest of the brain regions that we are going to be using those regions today. I will count you down in descending order from 3, 2, 1. At that point, you will inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale, and we will get this morning mental workout party started. 3, 2, 1. All right, coming back in. I am Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, youngest daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, the second oldest grandchild of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and it all started, as far as I get to trace back, to Levi Thomas, who was married to Goldie Thomas, and now you have me here on this amazing planet Earth. Today, we are going to be doing Wired Wednesday, and it is Watch and Discuss Wednesday. So you, all of you wonderful viewers, are going to need a secondary device. You have time because I am making the neurological connection to what we are going to do. And what we're going to do today is we're going to be watching 8 different videos. Running time is about 20 minutes. Should give us time to get to every video. And this is me speaking at an event way back 11 years ago when I had parted ways with my sister and I was building up what you experience today. And so I thought, let's do something different with Wire Wednesday. We had a very intense day with my daughter's business. And so I said, I can't do my normal thing. Let me do something different. And the universe gave me this. Now, what we were doing is watching the videos and we will be discussing the videos. So I had a conversation with Chat and I asked Chat, what will happen? What brain regions would you be using in order to watch Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers YouTube videos and then have discussions on them? And we know everything over here is connected to real leadership and neuroscience, so it's factually based. And be objective is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So let's go into those brain regions that we will be using today. So how this live will go, I'm going to tell you the brain regions that we're using. Good morning, Lola. And then we're going to watch the videos. And we're going to watch a video and discuss. Watch a video and discuss. Watch a video and discuss. Whether you're going to be typing in, so you'd be commenting. But discussion, nevertheless, in this format. And then we're going to talk about the brain bit and get on out of here. So here is what Chat revealed to us today. Watching Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers YouTube videos and then discussing them engages a wide network of brain regions, since it combines visual processing, audio processing, comprehension, memory, critical thinking, and social communications. So the process activates most of the major lobes and deep structures of the brain. That piece of hair right here. And so here is the breakdown. Number 1, you're going to be experiencing visual processing, and that is watching the video. And the brain regions that are involved in this are the occipital lobe, primary visual cortex, and the V1, and it processes the moving images on the screen. Good morning, Regina. If you are available and you're not driving, you need a second device because we are Watch and Discuss Wednesday today. Next, you will be using your fusiform gyrus, and it helps you recognize faces, text, and complex patterns. So it is a higher level of cognition for recognition inside of the brain. Next, you will be using your superior temporal sulcus, also known as the STS, and it interprets biological motions, gestures, facial expressions, and tone of voice. We're going to move on to the auditory processing, and this is listening to the sound of Dr. Donna's voice. Stay awake. People have been known to fall asleep. All right. Primary auditory cortex, and that is located in the temporal lobe. So the first stage of hearing words and tone. Then you will also be using the Wernicke's area. This will allow you to process speech and comprehension. And then finally, in the auditory process, you will be accessing your auditory association areas, and that integrates tone, rhythm of my speech, and actually meaning. Number three, understanding and interpreting the content. You'll be using that amazing prefrontal cortex, specifically the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which focuses on attention, holds working memory of key points. And then you'll be using your ventromedial prefrontal cortex, and this integrates emotional meaning, values, and personal relevance. So you're going to take in the information and decide if it applies and how and if and when, where, who, why, how, all of that, if it applies to you yourself personally. Next, you will be using your anterior cingulate cortex, and this is going to detect importance. If there's any conflict with what I've said, with what you believe, and it directs your focus. Finally, in understanding and interpreting the content, you're going to use the amazing homie, the hippocampus, because it's going to encode new learning into the memory. So if you find yourself extrapolating any of the information that you see, the hippocampus says, all right, bring it in. And just like we learned that the hippocampus is the memory library, it's going to find a space in your hippocampus and store it there. Number four, emotional engagement. The amygdalas, or the amygdalae, left and right. They will process the emotional tone and relevance of Dr. Donna's message. And the insula is coming up and bringing up the rear. It's going to generate self-awareness and that gut feeling about what's being said. And that means we know that the gut brain is sending the head brain 400 messages one way a day, and the insula is part of that process. And it's going to say, let me see if this lady knows what she's talking about. I don't believe shit she's saying. We will see. Number five, discussing the video, speaking and socially processing. And in your case today, commenting through your keyboard. You are going to be using the Broca's area from the frontal lobe, and this will allow you to produce your speech fluently. You also use the motor cortex, and this controls your mouth, tongue, and vocal cords movements for speaking. In this case, it's going to be your fingers and your thumbs. You also use the temporal parietal junction, and that's where the temporal lobe and the parietal lobe meet inside of the brain, and helps take another's perspective during the discussion. So you will feel free to comment on what other people are commenting on. If we were actually physically present in a college classroom, I had a professor who once a week we would meet in a circle, move all the chairs out the way, and sit and talk to each other. No desk, no, at that point, spiral notebooks and pens, and we just had conversations. So feel free to interject and talk with other people. Okay. And then you'll be using the orbital frontal cortex, and this regulates tone, empathy, and appropriateness in a conversation. In this instance, it's going to represent the tone that we read when you're typing. And then finally, you're going to integrate the visual and auditory and language together. And I had a new nice little tongue twister word this morning. So get ready for me to mess this up at least 3 times. But what you're going to be using is the white matter in your brain. And the name of it is the arcuate fasciculus. The arcuate fasciculus. And if you would like the spelling of that, it is as follows. A-R-C-U-A-T-E, A-R-C-U-A-T-E, arcuate. And the F word is fasciculus, and it is F-A-S-C-I-C-U-L-U-S, F-A-S-C-I-C-U-L-U-S. And it is the white matter tract, and it connects the Wernicke's area and the Broca's area for smooth comprehension and speech production. And also, you'll be using your default mode network. Now, this engages during reflection on what you just watched and how or if it applies to you. So in total, over a dozen distinct brain regions are heavily engaged, spanning all 4 lobes: frontal, temporal, parietal, and occipital, plus the limbic system, the hippocampus, the amygdala, the insula, and the major language memory circuits. So you are going to be using all of those. And let me move out the way so you can see it at the top up here. Looking all those brain regions that you are about to do by simply watching some videos and having a discussion. Now, what questions do you have as I transition to my own YouTube channel? And we will be on the home page. I'm getting there so I can show you what it's going to look like. So I hate that selfie looks like that. So you're going to be on the home page, and under the live, as you can see, there will be a picture videos of me in a gray suit. So let me know when you are there on the home page. Arune Tuntune. And as you get there, I will tell the story of how this all took place. As I mentioned, I've told the story before, but I just want to bring it back to the forefront of your mind. When I separated and severed ties with my sister on August 13, 2013, I had to start from scratch because everything for 3 years was in her everything. I got rid of my blog talk radio show, which is equivalent to a podcast, and I was totally 10 toes down in her business. And so what happened was there was rumblings, and I knew that I was going to leave. So I rejoined Toastmasters in July of 2013. I started going to Becky's meeting. I can't remember it, but it was on a Thursday at a pizza spot for 3 hours on Thursdays. And then my sister finally just made it so I was either going to go to jail or break and sever all ties. So I decided I didn't want to do the jail time. Nola was still in elementary school. So I told her, fuck you, come get your shit, I'm done. Now I basically said that. And give me one of my weapons back. So anyway, I let her use one of my weapons because she lived alone at that point. Anyway, the point is, I severed ties on August 13, 2013, and I established Answers Are Us, which is now, it's transition since then. That was 12 years ago. So the videos that you see at the beginning, all of them will say Answers Are Us. This is when I was transitioning and I became a tactical strategist. And so I was working with business owners because I was helping small to mid-sized business owners run their staff, get their business operations together, and all of that. And so I was also being a speaker and a public speaker. Because everybody, oh, you should be a speaker. You should be a speaker. I have been speaking since 2009. So what happened was I was going everywhere because nobody in Las Vegas knew who I was. And so I literally had to just get out there on the track by myself and make everybody understand who I was. And so I was speaking, and I was speaking anyway. Y'all need a speaker. Y'all need a speaker. Y'all need a speaker. So I spoke at a Rotary Club based upon a Toastmaster connection, and a person that was running what is called the BOWD program. I don't know if it's still in existence, but they called it BOLD. And it was business operations workforce development. I think that's what it stood for. So anyway, the person who was running it had a contract with the city of Las Vegas. And so twice a year, he had this business workshop. I think it was 90 days where business owners could come and they would learn how to get contracts. They would put them in front of people and all of these other things. So anyway, he was at the luncheon that I was speaking at the Rotary Club. Just so happens that I'm sitting at the table with him because that was the head table and that's where the speaker sits at. So I gave the speech at the Rotary Club. I think that was like on a Thursday or something like that. I sat next to him and he said, I want you to give that speech to my group on that Monday. Can you do that exact same speech? I said, why, of course I can. And so this videos that we're about to see is me at the place, I forgot what we call it, his office, big conference room. And I am giving the speech that I gave at that Rotary Club meeting. And it's about risk taking. So this speech is the thing that basically catapulted me. There were people in that room that I ended up meeting. I did more speaking and ended up at this strategic advisor to Urban Chamber. So you just never know what thing is going to turn into a thing. But this is the thing. So if we say one of those defining moments in your life, this interaction with this group of business owners is the actual thing. Now, I'm not going to give you any more information than that. You can take away and extrapolate what you want. This video is 11 years old, so it was February of 2014 when I started giving the speech. It's kind of cold outside for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch one video, and then Nola and Kevin, if y'all are on here or y'all on the homepage, I just want to make sure that we're watching all at the same time. So if you are there, again, homepage, video, right there. It's only a couple, I think the longest video is like 4 minutes, but everything else is less than 2 minutes. So, and then just to know that we're going to be using that little down arrow, little V right there to get to the other 4 videos. So just waiting to ensure that they are there too. Okay, so again, we're going to watch the misconceptions about fear. You're going to do ... so that I know you watched it, or brain or thinking, and then you're just going to say your thoughts about what the information. So that's why we used and showed you the brain regions up there that you're using, and you're in your default mode network, deciding if it's applicable to you, how to process it, gut check with the insula, say whatever you will about it. I'm not attached to anything at this point. This was 11 years ago, and I'm not even a speaker anymore. Okay, so first video, misconceptions about fear, 1 minute and 38 seconds. I'm going to watch it in real time with you all, so I will be pressing my mute button, starting right now. That's hot. I neglected to say, make sure you got some water, you hydrating, because you all are going to be watching and typing. So you definitely will potentially become dehydrated. And the Dr. Donna quote for the first part of this is, listen to what people do. Okay, what are we supposed to do after the video? So you're watching the brain regions that are above my head. You're watching the video to respond. So we're having a discussion. So we're watching and discussing the video. So whatever came up for you, if there was anything that your insula decided that it wanted to say, there was a takeaway that you wanted to put into your hippocampus, if there was a reflective moment, anything, what comes up comes out. Your first understanding of it. If you're like, I'm confused, I don't know it, it's assessing as a group discussion. So imagine if we were in school and we were all in the same room together, we would have a group discussion about the information that you just saw. So I don't want to get too specific and start telling you what you should think. So where is that fine line between instruction and intro perspective? So in your default mode network, is there something that it applies to you? Something that you didn't know? I'm literally trying not to tell you what to say. So your thoughts about the information that you just saw. It's a judgment-free zone. I'm confused by that statement. If you're saying you're about to just say whatever you want to say, yeah, I said I have no attachment to it. Okay. I loved your engaged presentation. I definitely was listening and focused. Being an adrenaline junkie, as you explained, will be something I stay away from. However, talking, being on your deathbed. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm away. I believe in taking risk. Without taking risk, you don't know what you're able to do. And taking risk is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And Regina, and having accomplished nothing was also a reality wake up and a paradigm shift. And because you read the tools, Regina, the deathbed, thinking about your deathbed, and now looking back at that, what would that be? So being risky and taking risk aren't the same. That is correct. Being risky is literally causing harm or danger to yourself or others. Taking a risk is growth opportunity. So you're taking something that you are afraid to do and you're attacking that fear so that you can calm down and regulate the emotional regulations so that you can grow from the experience. So taking a risk is me every single day going live. I have no idea who's going to be here. I have no idea what response. I have no idea what trolls or unaccountable people are going to show up. I don't know if YouTube is going to let me put my green screen up or not. That's me taking a risk. Me getting up here every day, currently talking about the brain, pronouncing words that I don't know how to pronounce. That's the risk. But if I have 15 shots of tequila, and now I'm gonna go drive a race car because we do have a race car track that you can drive here in Las Vegas. That's risky. Number one, I don't drink. Haven't drank. Had it 2 years where I did drink, and that was many moons ago. So now I'm definitely gonna be drunk, and now I'm gonna get in a race car and drive 200 miles per hour. Now, if I decide on my 55th birthday, I'm clean and sober, and I go drive on the racetrack just to get over my fear of driving fast on a safe track, now that's still taking a risk. But it's when it's going to cause risky, is going to cause harm to you or others. Taking a risk is going to allow you to experience a growth experience and overcome some type of fear that you have. Kevin, just like my live yesterday. Got it. Yes, yes. And so, yeah, Kevin, you said so it could be on there. You looked and sound powerful. You spoke with your hands, and it kept the room engaged. Your energy was alive, just like your live yesterday. Got it. So the other thing that I will say, because I don't want to give away what I'm doing, what I will say is that at this point, I wasn't a distinguished Toastmaster yet. I was still a competent communicator working on, because Toastmasters has different educational levels. They've changed them since I went through the process. Now they're levels. But I was at a level 2, and I think they go up to level 6 now, which is Distinguished Toastmaster. So Distinguished Toastmasters make up 5% of Toastmasters International, and you have to do leadership, you got to do a project, you got to do, it's a whole bunch of shit you got to do to become a Distinguished Toastmaster. Hence, so that's only 5% of the Toastmasters organization. And so if you look at it from this perspective, as we continue to watch these videos, so this is February of 2014. I severed ties with my sister of August of 2013. I started going to Al-Anon meetings in November of 2013. And at this point, I was out there basically hustling, trying to get business. People still didn't know who I was. Good morning, Sean. You're going to need a second device, Sean, because we're watching videos off the homepage. And so think about that. You've put all your energy into building this business up. And the person that I had an agreement with my sister, don't relapse and don't leave. She did both in 2013. And Nola didn't know, Nola had never seen her drunk or anything. All she knew her whole life, because Nola was 10 at the time, was that she was clean and sober. So now Nola is in Alateens. I'm going to Al-Anon meetings. I've been behind the scenes. I'm in Las Vegas where nobody knows me. And now I got to build all of this from scratch in a city that I have zero contacts in, because all her stuff was online. So at this point, being able to give that speech at this city of Las Vegas, and oh, by the way, I was so lucky because the person that runs the whole program was in the audience that day. So she was responsible for deciding the funding, who comes to the meetings and everything else. And she just decided to drop in on that day. So she is, if at some point you may see someone with gray hair at sitting in the audience, that's her. So she's in the front row listening to me. So now the person who invited me, business owner, people knew him. All it's nothing but business owners in the room. I think it might have been like 30 people in the room, something like that, somewhere around there. And this is also the meeting that I went to that ended up allowing me to be the guest speaker because that was February. So in June when they graduated, I was the guest speaker at the graduation, and they bought my book and gave it to everybody, all of the graduates in the room. So this started that from this interaction. And just remember, I'm August, September, October, November, December, January, February. 6 months later, this is what's happening while I'm in recovery from my sister relapsing and her fucking everything I built up in 3 years. She was destroying it by the day. Took her Facebook friends page all the way to 26,000 followers on a fan page in 2012. That's not some shit. I mean, those are big, those are all right numbers now. But in 2012 on Facebook, literally, friends page gone. We building this page up. Literally, she had a web television show, YouTube videos, 4 books, 3 of which I ghost wrote, all of this stuff. She had been on ABC, NBC, PBS, and Fox in Baltimore here and Arizona. Dr. Oz. She had met Oprah, Diane von Furstenberg. We on Roberto Cavalli's yacht, Tom Ford private parties, doing all kind of stuff. She in a movie, riding motorcycles through the Himalayas and everything else. And this relapses. That's why I said one thing's for certain. A loser no matter how good a situation is, a loser is an addict is gonna find a way to mess it all the way up. And then as I continued to progress, she just deleted everything. So for those 3 years and all my hard work, none of it is no longer on the internet at all, which is really got me angry because y'all know I saved every damn thing. I got report cards from elementary school. So anyway, I'm 6 months in, and now you have context. So as you continue to watch these videos, understand that I'm down, but I'm never out. I mean, life happens to you, but it's the bounce back. It's what are you going to do when all that you just basically starting from scratch? Starting from scratch, how do you get to where you currently are? So the second video is risk taking and fear. Risk taking and fear, and it is 1 minute and 42 seconds. Risk taking and fear. And again, I'm a mute because I'm watching the video with y'all. So Sean is the second video, risk taking and fear, if you get on a second device. Let's try this for a second time. See if it's cooled off. No. Regina has typed her ellipse. I actually want some of this water. We were outside for 4.5 hours yesterday. I was making sure I don't get dehydrated. Our brain notifies us of threats, is what Noah says. Regina says, clearly setting up people to be receptive to discussing fear and risk as related to business and life. Were you aware of the amygdalas at this time? You tapped into people's feelings. I was not, Regina. And when I watched this video last night, I clearly was not. That's why I said I have been on this path since the 8th grade of my brain, my science project for the brain. Risk is not fear. Stop thinking everything of as a fear. Yes, that's correct, Lola. So no, I was not regulated. I was not aware of it. I kind of knew instinctively, but I just didn't have the scientific information to back it up. And so as Steve Jobs said, I know I quote him a lot, he said, the dots will connect. Just keep going. Because this was 11 years ago and I'm still under duress. I don't even think I had a sponsor in Al-Anon yet. But I knew you got to take risk. I just didn't know that you were overriding the amygdala and strengthening the prefrontal cortex at the time. But I knew every time you take a risk, and I want to, because there is a video about that. But yeah, I had no idea about the amygdala. When I did my brain science project, I only did the 4 regions of the brain. That was it. I think I might have did the cerebellum, the medulla oblongata too. But I definitely was not like, yeah, and here is your hypothalamus, and it's located in your limbic system. Sean says, I am a risk taker. Yes, so it is interesting looking back. I still have that suit. I still can fit that suit. And I'll wait because we're going to get to some, I don't want to spoil it and say too much before we get to the rest of these videos. And then Mr. Hook, if you have your thing, because yeah, I believe you're still on here. One of the things I do not like about YouTube is because you can't see who's on the live. On TikTok, you can see who is actually on the live. If it's subscribers or not, you can still see who has been either kicked off or on. Kevin said, what caught my attention was the point that you gave only 2 identities to business owners, good or exceptional. Dr. Donna, I don't think I'm doing this exercise correctly. You actually are, Kevin. There is no right or wrong. That's the whole point, is I'm not giving you instructions, because if I give you it's not a test, Kevin. It's instinctively what is coming up for you. That's it. What do you notice? So I'm purposely not giving you these confined restrictions of, when you watch this video, you better tell me I'm fucking fire, or you getting an F on this assignment. It's not an assignment. It's literally, as long as I'm gonna move again. The purpose, Kevin, is all these regions of the brain. Literally, that's what you're doing. You're literally using those regions of the brain. You're watching the video and we are having a discussion. And so I'm showing you that when you watch something and you have a discussion, those are the brain regions that you are using when doing what appears to be a simple act. So I watched the movie and I'm talking about it. We're just using my content because I know my content. So I know what I'm saying and why I'm proving a point when we get to the end. Yes, and Sean, you can do that as well. I totally get it. Other devices down, but popping back in after watching. Yes, ma'am. So, Kevin, you can't do this wrong because this is an open book test. It ain't, and it's not even a test. It's really firing and wiring those brain regions, the synaptic connections. So, what you're doing is strengthening the brain regions. So, just by watching the video, taking perspective in your default mode network, the insula is going to say, hey, this is what I think. And it's basically what you think. So there isn't a right or wrong. It's we're having an open discussion, and so you can see what other people are extrapolating. If you feel the need, you want to say something to add to what somebody else has said, and say, "Oh, I didn't think about that." So if we were in a room having a discussion, we are. It's just virtual. So hopefully that makes more sense to you. But you can't get this wrong. Okay, the next video is people have one regret. And I know we're going to go over today, but we do need to watch all 8 of these videos. So people have one regret. That's the next video. People have one regret. That's hurting. I think I put my wig on too tight today. Yes, Regina is thinking. Regina, the one instructor that I did give was after you finish watching the video, type ... or brain or something. So I know that you finished watching the video and that you're thinking. So that part is an actual instruction. Noah said, take risk. Don't live a life of regret. That is correct. Do not do that. You go to any senior citizen home and elderly care, active or otherwise, and they are sitting there wishing they had made different choices. So once you finish the video, I know, Sean, you're popping back in, but it's ... Lola, try to do your best at all times, and at the end, you won't have many regrets. That is correct. Go for it. I have a lot of things that I know don't work, but I wouldn't have known that had I stayed behind at the Frito of the Lay. I will have 24 years at that organization. Sound like a life sentence. Actually, it is. Actually, it is. With no parole. Dun, dun. Sean says, yes, looking back at what you should have said yes to and did not, but learn it's okay. Kevin said conformity bias. We have become comfortable using the excuse that's used by others for not being successful. Wow, reflective moment. Yes, sir. That is true. And Regina, I like the way you connected the dots for people to have an aha moment. Taking risk helps you to have no regrets in your life. Yes. One thing that I would like to say too is these videos are kind of out of order, but for the first 15 minutes, they couldn't get the screen and the projector and the screen to talk to each other. So I was literally using a laptop, reading off of the laptop screen to have this conversation with everybody. So at one point, but at the beginning, no, nothing on the screen. And that's why you'll see two people walking over to the computer trying to get it to work because it was not working. So the first part of the speech, talk about extemporaneous. Now I got her. I can't think of her name right now. I see her face as clear as day. And me too, 1967 moment. Yes. And now I've got to keep it going. Got to keep it going. Got to roll with it. Lean with it, rock with it, roll with it, right? All right. The next video is the risk challenge. The risk challenge. It is 135. The risk challenge. And friendly reminder again, just type your ellipse in so I know that you have finished the video. No, you're supposed to be in YouTube watching video, not answering prompt questions in Instagram. Love my ADHD child. I'm doing both. Got it. Task jumping. "15 rats in a mousetrap." All of that was extemporaneous because one thing I have always been able to do is take a topic and customize it to who I was talking to. So the slides were on there just like I do now. I've been doing this. So the slides information is the same because one time I was the keynote speaker at the Nevada State Bank's regional managers kickoff meeting. And so that was a different, they had a different experience that day. They had never had that experience as the kickoff speaker for their event. I had slides too back then. I don't know if you need that anymore. Maybe. I haven't been to a corporate conference or event in many, many years. So I don't know what they're doing. Oh, and the other thing was that this is the actual BOWD's footage. And so I asked the person if I could have the footage, because at that point I didn't have anybody recording for me or anything. So that person gave me my footage free of charge. And then I went on Fiverr, because at this point I couldn't do graphics or nothing. And I went on Fiverr and had somebody cut the video footage and make that Answers Are Us intro and outro, because I couldn't add music or any of those things 11 years ago. And Nola wasn't in TV production yet, so she couldn't do it either. Lola said, don't be afraid to ask. It's only a yes or no. Just be able to handle either one answer. That is yes, ma'am. Yes or no's don't hurt. Regina said, I like the way you challenge people to take the first step. Again, no woulda, coulda, shoulda, and didn't. Kevin said, timing will never be perfect because it's always moving. Just start. That is correct. All you can do is start and then build it as you go. I love the phrase ready, fire, aim. Yes, that is coming from Michael Masterson. That is the title of his book. And so I just used it at that moment. I hadn't even started what's interesting is I hadn't even started the book challenge yet, because that was February 2014. And I didn't even start my first book challenge until November of 2014. So that was just me, I wasn't even on social media at that point. I did. I had Twitter at that time, X, and that was it. So there we have it. So use the resources that you have available to you at that time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the next video is the benefits of taking a risk. The benefits of taking a risk. 2-minute video. The benefits of taking a risk. Lola, by taking risk or being in the moment, you have thought about it in your focus. Yes. Especially if you're in business, you have to take a risk. It's the only way it's going to work. Nola said you have to reward positive behavior. Now, what I will say in this instance is that's that celebrating a small win that I now know neurologically works. So you do something The hippocampus gives you neurons to get it done. And then afterwards, the nucleus accumbens comes along and says, hey, here's some dopamine. And then in order to close that reward loop, you celebrate, as Nola said, you have a reward for positive behavior. So literally, I was saying do these things. I just didn't have the neuroscience yet to back up what I was saying. Kevin says, celebrate every victory. Yes, small or large, all of it. If you took a risk and you did it, that's enough. Celebrate it. Even if you fail, celebrate it. Because now you know what doesn't work. So celebrate it all. Regina said, I appreciate you giving specific examples to help people overcome their fear of starting. Must stay in the present moment and keep 10 toes down to start. Yes, we didn't have that statement back then, but yes, ma'am, 10 toes down to start. That was good. Stay focused on what your goals are and then challenge yourself as well, doing them like a reward at the end, but not until complete. Yes, so that's what's called a reward loop, Sean. It is. So you take you go to the hippocampus bank of neurons and say, hey, I'm about to take a risk. I need some neurons. I got to make a withdrawal. Then you take the risk, and now the risk is done. Pass or fail, good or bad. Now you close the loop. You already go get some dopamine, but then you celebrate it so that that whole risk reward loop has been closed. And then the hippocampus will remember that, and it will give you some more neurons the next time. And you're also creating emotional regulation. The next video is decrease your level of fear. Decrease your level of fear. Oh, and increase your self-esteem. So decrease your level of fear, increase your level of self-esteem. Allergies. Allergies. They're here. Regina has her ellipse. try to do something different every day so it can strengthen your risk taking. That is correct, Miss Lola. And I know if you got to go and exercise because we're hitting 55 minutes, I understand, but I still want these other two videos to be watched today. So that's perfectly acceptable. If you have to go, Lola, or anybody, just say what you learned today and what you learned about yourself. Nola says, start taking small risk and build up the big risk. That is correct, the Mundo. So a risk does not have to be hunormic. It doesn't. It just has to be enough for the amygdala to go, and you go, it's okay. All we're doing is putting different dressing on the salad today. That's it. Calm the hell down. Just calm down. Okay? We're going to have tea instead of coffee today. No big deal. Chill out. We're going to eat some tofu for the first time. We're going to have some guacamole. Something you never had before. We're going to wake up early. Regina said, 2 different shades of nail polish on your hands. People weren't doing that. I digress. Yes, risks are important. This will take you forward and expand your life and options. So yes, when I still had acrylic nails on, or I would have all the different color, I would have the same color on, and one of these 2 fingers would be a different color. But and then my feet would be a different color. So just imagine it's 2014. I know people are doing all kinds of things with nails, but back then I'm sitting in business meetings with my nails different colors. They like this. It is also showing y'all that I've been like this. I told y'all I was at Frito-Lay like this. This is a business city city of Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is the Mississippi of the West. It's very conservative and everything else. I know the strip is there, but behind the scenes, they're very traditional. And here I come walking in with this hair down my back and these nails on. Yeah, they were shocked to say the least. Sean said, smart start, face the fear and challenge yourself. And Kevin says, change resets the brain thinking process. Yes, sir. It actually does. Yep. I know it was recess. I got it. Okay. All right. The next video is why you need to play. Why you need to play. Why you need to play. Regina is typing her ellipse. Nola, chess can be used as a metaphor for life. Yes, ma'am, I agree. Oh, sure, keep getting crooked. Boom, boom, boom. Regina, so fear the fear and do it anyway. We are always changing and adjusting to different circumstances and learning to live and survive. If not, we die. That is correct. Susan Jeffers, feel the fear and do it anyway. Life is a chessboard. Exactly. And living life afraid isn't living. And I have a Dr. Donna quote or video I just posted the other day. It came up in my memories. Is that people are afraid to live and afraid to die. You can't be both. You can't be afraid to live and die. So you want to pick one. Okay. I'm saying don't be afraid of either, but you can't be, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I don't want to die. Wait, live. Either live or die. One or the other, but don't do both. Kevin said use an acronym to educate the audience. Yes, I told you I've been using acronyms for a very long time, since ROTC in the 80s, mid 80s, and going forward. And the other thing is that it's interesting, as I said, I volunteered at NOLA school from kindergarten to fifth grade. When I was the parent teaching the children chess, there was a dad. And when I went, I had to take all the students and teach them chess. When the dad came, he picked the good students to work with, and he didn't pick anybody else. And so the little girl that won was because I taught her how to play chess. He was only working with the kids who actually knew how to play chess, and he wasn't teaching nobody nothing. And so there you go once again. Lola, finding what's your reason why you're not willing to take the risk. Yes. And so once again, me going in and taking the underdog, the people who aren't paying attention, and saying, okay, everybody can come on out and I will teach everybody how to play chess. And once again, allowing other parents to not have to do the hard part. Every time I came in there, I had to do the hard stuff. And then the rest of the other folks did. But it worked. And so they knew how to play chess. Yes. I like the Silent Storm reference. Yes. She was. Nobody thought she was coming to do it, and she won. And she was a fraternal twin too, so that was interesting. All right. Last but certainly not least is here's why you got to take more risk. Here's why you got to take more risk. Last video of the day. Go ahead and let it play. All right, that was the last video. Let me get to the brain bit. Be quick about it, Dr. Donna. What was that? Gmail. Regina is typing her ellipse. Nola said, you only live once. You only live once. My thought process, you might as well kick ass and take names. Yes, might as well. Might as well. Got the pigeons outside the window. Supercalifragilistic. The reward is given to he who takes the risk. That is who gets the reward. Yes. Take the risk or lose the opportunity. Lola, strengthening certain parts of the brain by taking risk helps you make rational decisions when needed. That is correct. That is correct. Regina, you touched my heart with this story about your intestines being nicked and needing to take care of Nola. You shared it before, but you got me. Oh, well, good. That was the whole point of it in that moment. So part of what I'd like to say, and I'm getting ready to transition into the brain bit, which is about sleeping, is this. So I've told you all, this is who I am. This is who I am. Online, in person. This is who I am. And now you have seen that I'm sitting in a business meeting with you too, Lola. I'm sitting in a business meeting with business owners and a representative that worked for the city of Las Vegas. And when I had my own business workshop, there was another representative of the city of Las Vegas, because when they fund something and they put their name on it, they send a rep to the whole process. So same me, teaching business strategy series, had a different representative there in the room. And what I'm showing you is I'm me. I'm 100% me all the doggone time. I can't be anybody else. I couldn't be somebody else. I don't know how to be fake. I'm not coffee with cream. I'm not code switching. I can't do any of those things at all. I have to be me so I can be the best me that I can be. So 11 years later, here we are today sitting live. I didn't stop. I kept going. Have I caused some audibles and made some transitions? I absolutely have. But this is what it looks like when you are on a path to self-actualization. You take the good, you get rid of the things that don't matter, and you keep going and you keep growing and you build upon. This book was written in 2008. I've been building upon the principles of real leadership since I wrote the book. I was making them, and then I got them, and now I'm using them. And that's why they're so important, because the dots are connecting. Sean said, being afraid but still taking the risk will change your life, as well as beautiful testimony of truth. Thank you, Dr. Donna. My pleasure. And Regina says, the lesson is adversity makes us stronger and develops skills of fortitude and perseverance, which are life skills for success and survival. Yes. And so that is the whole, to put a nice little bow on what's taking place, is life hit me. My sister relapsed and left, and I had to figure it out very quickly. And because of my past track record, the hippocampus reminded me, hey, you've been down and out before. This ain't nothing. Just go ahead and get it going. How do you continue to move on without being angry, without being bitter, still helping others, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Believe in yourself, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Challenge yourself, grow continually. Failure is not an option. Quitters never win. All of those things are the reason why I'm still here in front of you saying now it's neurological. Back then, I knew it was something. I just didn't know that it was neurological. So just because something isn't happening on time, it's still happening in time. And it doesn't happen as fast as the movies will allow you to believe. It doesn't just take place overnight. It takes time. I had to become this version of myself in order to sit before you and start making the neurological connections. But if I didn't start the book challenge, if I didn't go see the Equalizer, I didn't start the book challenge, I'm not here. And Nola asked me yesterday, well, how did you start talking about the brain? And what took place was last October 1st, I have been doing the same format for the live on TikTok from January 28th until September 30th. And I was sick of that format. And so I said on October 1st, I'm changing the format. And that's when I started wearing the brain t-shirts. And then by November 2nd, I started talking about the brain bits. And that's how I started doing more research for the brain. And that's how we get here, so that now you all have enough cognition to go back and say, dang, did you know that back then? Because your neural pathways have been built. So now you can understand and make the neuropathic connection that I was making. Neurons were Hebb's law, wiring and firing and wiring. I just didn't know that it was Hebb's law, and that's what was actually taking place. So I've created thousands of neural pathways since that time because I keep going back to the hippocampus bank of neurons. And so that's what you all need to do as well, is take what I did 11 years ago, look at what you've done in the past, and start to see trends. Start to see your whole core values and who you are and your actual character, what you brought with you to your current day and time, because that's who you actually are. I actually am that little girl in that suit way back in 1984, taking that picture. That's me. That is me. That is who I am, and that is who I have become. And so I walk the walk. I don't talk the walk. There is the evidence of it. I'm not saying, yeah, because see, when I'm at a meeting and then I go in there, hi, how are you? I'm Dr. Donna. Yes, let's talk about real leadership today. No, I was me. I talked about wigs, and the other thing is I talked about coming from a long line of druggies and alcoholics in a business meeting, because there were people in that audience who had family members that were in treatment, not in treatment, and everything else. So it was this human experience, and at the end of the day, the objective was go take risks so that you can go build your business. That was the summation of that. So in summary, very quickly, because I know I've taken up a bunch of your time this morning, I'd still want to get to the brain regions that you use when you are asleep. So sleep isn't controlled by just one spot in the brain. It's a network of many interacting regions that shift activities as you move through different stages of sleep: light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. So here are the brain regions. The hypothalamus, it acts as the master regulator of sleep and wake. It contains the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your body's biological clock. The suprachiasmatic nucleus, let me say that faster. It's your body's biological clock, and the ventrolateral preoptic nucleus, which helps switch sleep by inhibiting waking prompting regions. Next is the brainstem, and that consists of the pons, the medulla, and the midbrain. And it sends signals to the thalamus and the cortex that initiate REM sleep. The procedures, it produces neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, serotonin, and acetylcholine. And that regulates sleep also through your wake transitions. Next is the thalamus, and it acts as a large gatekeeper. During sleep, it reduces sensory input so you can stay asleep. In REM sleep, it reactivates to help generate vivid dreams. Then you have the pineal gland, which is different than the adrenal glands, but it produces melatonin, the hormone that signals when it's time to sleep. You have the basal forebrain, and that promotes sleep by releasing adenosine, which we've talked about that. And that's the chemical that builds up the longer you are awake, and then that causes you to go to sleep. It also helps regulate slow wave sleep. Then you have the cerebral cortex. It's not a sleep switch, but it shows rhythmic activity, and it changes across stages. It works with the thalamus to produce sleep spindles and slow waves. And then you have the amygdala, which is active during REM sleep, and it's influencing the emotional content of dreams. So you have 7 regions of the brain that you are using just to sleep. Just to sleep, 7 regions of your brain are working so you could just get to REM. 4, basically. And then the Dr. Donna quote for this is that real leaders train the brain to rest because recovery is not weakness, it's wiring your strength. So I'm going to slide out of the way because all of that information is right there. You have the 2 Dr. Donna quotes regarding watching the videos and listening to them, the brain regions that you use today, and then also what happens when you are taking risk, which is that brain fired up, ready to take risk, and then you have a sleeping brain. So it is important the next time or any other time going forward, as you start to watch things on screens and you have discussions about it, these are all the brain regions that you are using. And you can answer the questions, what did you learn today and what did you learn about yourself? While I'm speaking, so we can definitely get out of here here shortly. So these are the regions that you're using for your brain anytime you're watching a screen and then having a conversation about what you watched on the screen. So pay attention to how you feel right now, because you had your own natural release of serotonin and dopamine. You created a habit loop of watching and discussing, watching and discussing. The neurons are firing. Go ahead and let them wire. And now when you watch other things and you have a discussion, monitor how you feel with a different group of people and be able to use that. So the insula and the gut brain should be able, along with the hippocampus, to remember how this feels versus that. Obviously, the ACC and amygdala will play a role in that as well. When you're having screen experiences and conversations, it needs to always feel like this. And if it doesn't feel like this, then you either need to adjust what you're watching on the screen. And I'm not telling you what to watch. I'm saying you should be able to extrapolate some information from what you watched and have an engaging conversation with someone around you. And if you can't have that, then it's either change the people, change the conversation, or change what it is that you are watching on the screen. Because otherwise, it produces hijacked amygdala, manufactured dopamine. You could be experiencing external anxiety by watching it. And now you're creating cortisol moments in the limbic system as well as in the prefrontal cortex. And you're weakening your prefrontal cortex. That's what's actually taking place. And that's not the loop that you want to create. Okay. Sean says, I have learned to challenge your fear and take the risk in line for self-growth. I have learned that I can take a risk and challenge my fear and not feel bad about my choice. You're just learning what works and what doesn't work. Regina said, I learned that everyone has a different response to your videos based on their life experiences and understanding of business and taking risk. And that is the whole point, Regina. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm not about to tell you what to think. I'm saying think. Think whatever you need to think. Make the connectivity that you need to make in your brain, because we all live in different lives. We all live in different locations. We all have different things that we do on a daily basis. Even Nola and I, we live in the same house. So it isn't a matter of we all think the same. That's not what this is about. I'm saying think. Use these brain regions to watch, consider, and converse. That's what you're doing. That's what you're actually doing, because now you're doing it on purpose. And that's why I'm on a no screen time hiatus, or no screen time for a minute. And I say November, but knowing me, this might be my new life, because of how I feel and the connections that I'm making when all I'm doing is listening to this Tibetan flute music, and that's it. My brain is processing and looking at things differently. I'm having a different experience. Now, Amy and Lala are acting like a damn fool. Don't get it twisted. They still pissed, because it won't even be 21 days until the 30th of this month. So they're still trying, especially if you're creating a new habit and you know that it takes 21 days to form that habit. But day 16 through 20, the basal ganglia is still like, you sure you want to do this? You sure? The amygdala like, you want to do this? Because we could stop. Wire and fire. Won't need this. So that's when all hell starts breaking loose, right before you get to the 21st day. Regina Nola says, I learned about myself. No, Kevin. Nola said, I learned that there are 7 brain regions to go to sleep. Kevin said, today, reminded myself to celebrate small victories. Nola said, I learned about myself is I forgot how good of a speaker you are. Thank you for that, my amazing offspring. Regina said, I was empowered to take risk in my life, beginning with small risk. This feels good. Sean said, at Nola, I missed the amazing point. And you missed the amazing point. I missed what you're saying, Sean, to Nola. Regina said, yes, Nola, Dr. Donna is a powerful and impactful speaker. And then Kevin said, myself, I got to learn how to participate with little to no instructions. Yes, you do, Kevin. You do, because we've had this experience before. I'm not about to tell you what to think. The only instruction I had was watch the video, process it, after you finish, and then whatever comes up. Yes, so it is 7 brain regions for you to go to sleep. Because here's the thing, Kevin. We are being programmed by everybody, by our family members, our friends, our affiliations, and people are saying, you need to think this. And I'm saying, what do you think? What do you think? And then let's have a discussion about what you think. And why do you think what you think? Is it your actual thoughts or is it a program thought from an external stimuli? Because people have been trying to program me unsuccessfully. I mean, a little bit of programming in there, but it ain't. I'm like, no, that's a virus, antivirus. No, I came here like this. I woke up like this. I was born like this. And that's it. So what I hope that you have taken away from this experience is that you can meet your objectives. You can accomplish goals and you can still, and this is going to be terrible, Cat Williams say, booty hole intact. You definitely can still get to where you need to be in life, having not sold your soul, entered into any Faustian bargains, or really regret something. Like, why did I do that? I told 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or really 12 years ago, people were like, I mean, I gave a speech at a NABO luncheon and I had on a black mini dress with black, red, and white zip, like Argyle tights and black 4.1-inch suede booties and China Dow hair with red lipstick. I sure did. They were like, oh my God, your dress is amazing. Where did you get? Huh? I love you. At a NABO luncheon at one of the casinos. They are all in there with their lunch gear on and all kind of things. I showed y'all when I was on that panel. That was a Gucci shirt I had on. I'm sitting there talking and everybody's looking like, you did? Yeah, absolutely. So be your 100% authentic self. Go ahead and take risks. That was a big, giant risk that led me to be in rooms that I never thought that I would ever have the opportunity to be in, because Vegas is very cliquish and it's like a puzzle trying to find what room, find the room, find who's in the room, and what can you do to get in the room too. It's very, what you doing here? You outsider, you Yankee? What you doing? You from the East? No. So I had a hard road to hoe and a short time to get there, for sure. But it can makes the impossible impossible, and that's what one of the 74 principles of real leadership is. So hopefully you've taken away bigger and better things. Yes, thank you, Nola and Regina. I was a great speaker, because be the best. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to be my best at it. The reason why I stopped speaking, number one, is because there are too many public speakers in the world. Are there too many great public speakers in the world? Absolutely not. But I don't like traveling. I don't like standing at the end, shaking people's hands. They lying to me, telling me about how much I inspired them and motivated them. You ain't going to do shit. Shut up. You're lying. You're not going to do it. So can I sit at some point, because Regina just keeps behind the scenes saying, you closing the gap, Dr. Donna. So if I'm ever sitting on a panel talking to somebody, y'all can thank Regina for that shit, because she thinks she's slick. Just being a teacher, just kind of watering it. Yeah, you really are. You really are. And I'm grateful for it. But if I ever sit on a stage again talking with any other people or being interviewed, it will be because of what she's saying in emails behind the scenes. It will definitely, because I'm like, fuck them. I ain't talking to nobody. I wish I would get interviewed. I'm like, no, I'm not getting, I'm not. She's like, yeah, but the gap needs to be closed. The gap needs to be closed. You're the person that's got to close the gap. You should collaborate with this person. I'm like, no, I'm not collaborating with nobody. Last time I collaborated, that shit went left. My hippocampus and Amy, both of them. We're not doing it. No. So when I am doing it, y'all could just thank Regina for it taking place. So I'm listening. I'm just still resisting. And y'all, Nola knows I will resist, but I will do what's right for the greater good. And I understand that it is necessary. And I know I ain't crazy. I know what's happening. I was born at night, not last night. I understand you are an educator. You ain't fooling me. I'm an educator too. I know how that goes 100%, but I have to be mentally ready for it, because it has to be the right interaction. Can't just be putting my face and name on any and everything. I already did all that stuff. So thank you very much for your time. And takeaway, the biggest takeaway today, Kevin, if you need some instructions for this, is what you watch on a screen and the conversation that you have is going to impact how you feel. It's going to do it, whether you are conscious of it or not. So be on purpose about what you're consuming on a screen. Phone, tablet, TV, gas station, grocery store, wherever the screen is, process it and decide if it's actually applicable to you. Process how you feel so that you can decide if I want to keep feeling this way or I don't want to keep feeling this way. And then go have a discussion about it and process that discussion. How does that discussion make you feel? Because the body is giving you information and saying, I like that, do that again. I don't like that, don't do that no more. Take your time, patience. I'll be here. Might be 100, but I'll be here. I don't think it's going to take that long, Regina. It really is. I'm just a Taurus. I'm stubborn because because I'm so loyal and committed to something, once I shut it down, I'm not opening it back up. So I have to go, does this make sense to do this? So I get it. And I was around some unaccountable people. So that's part of the reason why it was taking place. So timing, patience and timing, as you mentioned, the dots will connect at some point in the future. So I'm not saying I won't anymore. I am saying under the right circumstances that make sense for where I am and where I will be, if the opportunity presents itself, then I shall say yes to it. It's not going to be something that I'm doing frequently because part of me is I've mastered it. So I've mastered public speaking. And so I feel like I'm also taking up somebody else's spot who needs to learn how to become a public speaker and have that experience as well. So I don't want to be taking up somebody else's space because my old ass won't move out the way. That's the other reason why I've done that. My time in that realm is over, but I can sit on the stage with some neuroscientists and some psychiatrists because I haven't done that and have that dialogue with that group of people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for your time and your participation. Know that tonight when you lay your amazing head on your amazing pillow, that 7 brain regions are working to get you from light sleep to REM 4. So start thanking your brain for all that it does for you on the daily basis. God willing, higher power in the universe, I will be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a brain-tastic day. Take care. My pleasure.